Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again, it is time for my client Lewis's vlog. And Lewis is cutting still. Although we can start to see a difference, he's starting to clearly lose body fat, losing body weight. I'm a little concerned that he's been losing weight a little faster than I would like, but that's okay. He did notice that he's like, wow, I feel like it's just getting harder to train. The strength is starting to take a little bit of a hit. And, something I point out to a lot of these guys, when we cut, it's not fun. Training is difficult. Fatigue management is difficult. When you're using nothing and you're cutting completely clean, again, this starts to highlight what a lot of these influencers and other people won't tell you, who are using a lot of stuff to help them cut. It's difficult, right? Strength takes a hit. It's hard to finish your workouts. You have to dig in a little bit to finish them. Fatigue management's more critical. Sleep's more critical. We don't have all those extra calories, and it's just the nature of the game, and that's okay. Again, for those who don't know the background here, of course, Lewis is, was a hard gainer. We managed to bulk him up originally. He both got injured, had to have surgery repairing some bones. Then he got really sick, and he lost a bunch of weight. And then we kind of had to rebuild from square one. Now we're getting to a point where, now that you guys are looking at him, okay, we can tell we've been lifting a little bit. This was a really skinny, underweight guy when we started. Struggled a bit, still dealing with some health issues. He has to work around the best that he can. And, here we are. We've done a bulk. Now we're cutting. We're going to lose a little more weight. Also lose a little more body fat, get a little leaner, and then we're going to repeat the process. We're going to keep going up. We're going to keep getting him, bigger, and we're going to play the long game. All right, we're going to play the long game here. But I think we can see there now that he's losing a little body fat, we see some tricep go on. I'm letting him do some extra arm work, because, again, younger guys always feel like they want more arms. And, and I get that. So we're letting him do the arm work. But again, definitely a little bit of tricep happening there, right? So he can see the work starting to pay off now that he's trimming down a little bit, and so we're going to keep doing this, right? We're going to keep running conjugate. We're still running an upper-lower split. I give him 4 lifts upper, 4 lifts lower for his max effort work. Right here we're doing a deadlift. So I usually let him do back squats, box squats, conventional deadlift, sumo deadlift. Then for max effort upper, I didn't get floor press footage this week, but normally we do floor press, we do bench press, close grip bench, and incline bench. That's actually my favorite rotation for a lot of my conjugate lifters these days. I feel like it gives us a nice, good mix. Right, if we're going to do max effort work and we're going to pick some varied lifts, we don't have a lot of equipment, I really like those 4. Right? Of course, we can always change grips, and getting a lot of my lifters to change grips is a little difficult long distance, because, again, getting them to understand that their normal grip is going to be whatever their normal grip is for their best for competition, but it doesn't mean we count that as a normal bench press. In other words, once you start changing grips, it can be a little difficult to communicate that and get your lifters on board. And I've had some who have done that with who we do up to 5 different grip widths. And we count them all separate. And that works really well for conjugate, but getting your lifters consistent with it if we go that route, when you're not there to coach them in person and kind of reinforce it, they'll tend to mess it up a little bit. So for a lot of them, I prefer this 4 lift rotation. I let them do whatever their normal bench is, and then a close grip, right? Then we'll do a floor press and incline. Sometimes a decline. If they have a good decline bench, I'll sometimes use that in the rotation. All right, if they don't have an incline or a decline, a lot of times I like a pen bench. I think that can work real well for those rotations. All right, squatting is easy, box squats, back squats. Now, if they have different bars, I can rotate bars. Deadlift, same thing. We can do good mornings also in there. Some of mine who've been training a while, they do a lot of good mornings. I'd like to max on good mornings. I think particularly if they have specialty bars. and they've got a good rack they can do it in safely. We did a deadlift there, and then of course you guys see a supplemental work. We do pause benching, we do rowing. I let him do some JM presses, band press downs, barbell curls. All right. For a lower body, after our max effort work, we like split squats, we like good mornings, glute bridges, hanging leg raises. Very straightforward working with the equipment that he has here, right? And then we see kind of repeating the same basic pattern for upper day, for dynamic upper. All right, same basic pattern. No need to complicate it too much. Lower bodies for dynamic. If he's too fatigued, I'm going to let him start taking the glute bridges out. Let him start taking the glute bridges out. And to be honest, I could pull those out in general, and he would probably be fine. You know, when we're speed boxing and speed pulling, a lot of times, a lot of my lifters can get by on nothing but a squat pattern movement of some type, and then lots of good mornings. I love good mornings for my lifters with limited equipment. I feel like I can do a lot of base building off that. A lot of my people, we have done that very, very successfully for my guys with real wide stance squats. We can build it off of good mornings. We have to be careful with it though in a limited equipment environment though to avoid overuse. We might have to change stances around sometimes. If they start getting certain issues, we'll adjust the stance. Their back is getting too fatigued, we'll go real wide stance. Their hips are getting too fatigued, we can bring it in narrow. All right? Can also use those for max effort variations. You know, this is the stuff that we do to make it work in these low equipment environments. Because again, it's just going to be real basic. We don't have a lot of stuff to work with. Keep it real basic. Same thing for him when he starts bulking again. I can always throw some small exercises back in as needed. I don't always think that they're not needed, but he's got the lighter dumbbells, right? We've got those. We can always use those for shoulder work and things like that. Tricep work, if they're getting too beat up from the JM presses, right? Run some dumbbell extensions. Again, you can always make it work. You can get creative. The main thing we're always avoiding is overuse and trying to find ways to hit those weak points. All right. And fortunately, I'm lucky that a lot of my lifters at home like this with less equipment, they have good, healthy shoulders. That way we can get away with those good mornings and speed squats on their back with a normal bar. Always a blessing. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.